And I just want to show you, just to prove the point that the US is interested, very much interested in Pakistan. Take a look at this clip and look at their reaction. This is, again, during a congressional hearing. Look how upset they are because Pakistan refused to condemn Russia at the United Nations.
Two other countries in your jurisdiction under South Asia, obviously you have the stands as well, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, that also voted to abstain from this vote. Can you talk briefly about your disappointment in those decisions and what efforts were made with respect to those countries?
I was on the phone at 6 o'clock last night speaking to the Sri Lankan ambassador here. My colleague in the Bureau was on the phone with the Indian DCM. We have worked very hard, with the Pakistani DCM, to try to convince them to vote in favor of this resolution. It is disappointing how many countries have abstained. I would also look to how many countries.
Can I just ask, Mr. Ambassador, did anybody in the administration pick up the phone and call the Pakistani foreign minister or the prime minister of Pakistan?
No, as you know, our chargé has met recently with the Pakistani foreign minister, but
on this topic.
On votes in the UN.
On the Ukraine vote?
On Ukraine votes, not specific to the UN General Assembly vote. But as you may know, Prime Minister Khan has recently visited Moscow, and so I think we're trying to figure out how to engage specifically with the Prime Minister following that decision.
Well, as you know, there was a meeting in Delhi with the Russians as well. The point is, we need a strong, concerted effort with respect to all of these countries, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India. I understand that you made some efforts. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So these are things that I told you about, that Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, was visiting China, visiting India. I told you they're important, and the Americans obviously care, and they care about Pakistan. They care that Imran Khan, Pakistan abstained from condemning Russia at the United Nations when the General Assembly adopted the resolution on March 2nd. They had another vote on March 24th. Both times Pakistan abstained. So did India, so did China. Well over 40% of the world's population, just to put it mildly. Not only that, he actually went to Russia. So it's not only that Khan refused to sanction Russia. He actually went to Russia. He meets with Putin as this war is starting, and he buys 2 million tons of gas and wheat, and he's just basically giving the finger to the Americans. He's, figuratively speaking, he's telling the Americans, go screw yourselves. I'm going to do what I think is best for my country, and no one is going to tell me otherwise. And then on top of that, the EU try to get him to condemn Russia, and he tells them, who do you think we are? Are we your slaves? He literally says that. Are we your slaves? So he's very openly rejecting Western foreign policy, Western attempts to guide, to steer Pakistan's foreign policy. He's rejecting that, and he even condemns. He goes and says in the same speech, he says, "We were allied with the U.S. in the war on terror. What did we get in return? 80,000 Pakistanis killed, right? Drones and various other operations." And so last year, what does Imran Khan do? He says, no U.S. bases in Pakistan. He refuses. The Americans don't like that, obviously, because this area is very strategic. I mean, not to mention India and Pakistan are nuclear powers, but, again, we are talking about, we are talking about Afghanistan, which they occupied for 20 years, which gave them bases on China's doorstep, on Iran's doorstep, in proximity to Russia. They always they always look for excuses to expand their bases. That's why in Saudi Arabia they have all these bases to this day, right? At the time is, we just, let us in, let us go get rid of Saddam, and they're still there to this day. What else did Imran Khan do? He said, I'm not helping you in Yemen, right? So this is already a couple of years ago in 2015. He said Pakistan must not join the Yemen war. And then, of course, he backs Palestine. He says, I am the Prime Minister of Pakistan. We stand with Gaza. We stand with Palestine. And he posts this great quote from Chomsky. So on all fronts, he is vehemently, overtly, clearly rejecting U.S. foreign policy and also attempts to steer Pakistan's foreign policy. And that doesn't bode well, right? They said you have to go.